it's crazy, but it's
You're watching Channel Z, the world's leading zombie apocalypse channel. Broadcasting live from Studio Z.
Makes me act the way I do.
Welcome to Undead Live, reporting from the front lines of the zombie apocalypse. We have your back morning, noon, or night, whether you're dead, undead, recently deceased, or fully alive. We have the apocalypse covered.
That's right. And the apocalypse is upon us.
It is upon us, and I am so excited.
Me too. We've got, 3 days till the zombies are all coming into town, right?
Well, I suspect they might be here already. I've been hearing some grumblings here in the studio since we've, made our way here to the Mesa Mix Center.
Uh-oh.
Well. Yeah, see what I mean? I'm worried that maybe we have a zombie situation already here. I'm not sure how we're going to deal with it during the meeting. We might have to improvise.
Well, I think that's exciting, right? It's like we don't know what the future brings, and so yeah.
So it's amazing and exciting. Anything could happen.
Exactly.
That's one of the benefits of the apocalypse, actually, right? It puts you in a mindset.
It breaks us from tradition, right? And so, but it also lets us celebrate tradition. And we have a guest who is a returning guest.
We do. Yes, we do. And he is going to be one of our featured brains at ZAMM as well. So today, this episode of Undead Live, we have kind of a little preview of the delicious brains that you will be seeing and hearing from at ZAMM starting on Thursday in the afternoon. So without further ado,
yes. Mathew Sandoval, come on in.
Woo, Mathew!
What's good, zombie folks?
Brains.
Yeah, we're so excited to have your brains here with us.
You are?
Yeah.
Yes.
My brains feel fried at the moment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm good.
Why are your brains feeling fried?
There are zombies outside, and it's been stressful just trying to get into the studio today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you actually visually identify them, or did you just hear them groaning?
It's hard to distinguish between zombies and students at the ASU campus, so it's a little bit difficult.
I see. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing here with, we're at the Mesa Mix Center, which is kind of an extension of the ASU campus, and we're not really sure what the zombie situation is here.
Yeah.
But it sounds like maybe you suspect that we might have a problem.
A little bit. I feel like it's developing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a problem sometimes of trying to figure out if I'm zombified or not, right? I think that, walking around campus, I might be one of the people you might see. And if you were like, are you a zombie? I'd be like, I don't even know.
You wouldn't
So
Matthew, we're so excited that you're going to be with us for ZAMM, and you are an expert in Dia de los Muertos and in general, how people engage with history and culture and festivals to deal with really difficult situations and apocalypses, really, actually.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah, we got Dia de los Muertos coming up in just a couple weeks now. So November 1st and 2nd are traditionally the days of Day of the Dead, when people in Latin America and including the U.S. Southwest gather to honor their ancestors, gather to honor those who died, as a long-standing cultural tradition that we just keep alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is looking to the things we love about the people who have died, right?
100. Yeah. Obviously you don't want to talk smack about the people who have died. You want to honor them in a beautiful way that really honors their legacy. You don't necessarily want to demean them. So building altars, putting up pictures, just this weekend, actually, I finished the altar for both my grandmother and my pops. So I decorated those with flowers, put their pictures up, put all the little memorabilia and things like that.
Nice.
So I'm getting ready for Day of the Dead right now.
Well, and actually, as part of ZAMM, we have sort of a hybrid situation with the Mesa Dia de los Muertos Festival, which will be happening all day on Saturday, right? Coming Saturday.
Indeed. I'm really excited for this partnership between ZAMM and Mesa Arts Center. I've been working with the Mesa Arts Center folks for a couple of years on their celebration, and it's wild and it's beautiful and it's festive and colorful. It's going to be great.
It's great. And we'll have a discussion about festivals and Dia de los Muertos. Will go in much more depth than we have the chance to do right now. So because we have so many people
we need
to bring on.
That's true. Including right now, we have a person who while you're celebrating the dead, we have someone who makes us look dead, right? For all our promotional materials. So, oh wait,
No,
not yet.
not yet.
Oh
We
my
have someone
gosh.
who keeps people alive.
Oh, right.
Right. We have Dr. Zed. Dr. Zed, are you there? Are you able to join us remotely?
I'm here.
Hey, Dr. Zed, how are you?
I'm not as physically close to you guys as you are to each other because I'm still in New Mexico. But I will. Yes, I am the Doc of the Dead. I need to be with you at the ZAMM meeting, so I'm excited. I'm going to be making my way over to Arizona and to the Mesa Mix Center just as soon as I can.
Awesome. Joe, what's your assessment of the zombie situation at the moment?
It's a little frightening. I'll be taking my time and making my way as safely as possible from here to there. But when we get there, I have 3 amazing Dr. Zed shows planned, all about some aspect of drugs and the apocalypse. So I'll just kind of go over them real quick. The first one's going to be about how we can treat and prevent apocalypses. Or apocalypti. We'll be bringing on veteran guest Jessica Brinkworth, and we'll be using lessons from the current pandemic apocalypses, bringing in how things like Ebola, COVID, monkeypox, and that sort of thing. And can we leverage that information to protect ourselves from the zombie apocalypse? So that's number 1. Number 2, we're going to be talking to disaster medicine expert Amanda Gallagher about drugs of destruction and decay. And we'll kind of get into the weeds about drugs for disasters, and also what are the kinds of drugs that we can actually get from decaying plant and animal matter. And then the third one is about the evolution of drug use with evolutionary anthropologist Ed Hagen. So do we use these drugs just because they help us prevent us from becoming hijacked and zombified? So that's kind of the lineup for the Dr. Zed show this week.
That sounds amazing, Joe. The brains that you have lined up just sound like so delicious. I can't wait to eat those brains. I can't wait to eat those. I consume them. I just want to, yeah. So delicious. You know?
And for fun, Amanda Gallagher, of course, she made edible brains for our last Dr. Zed. This is 2 years ago for the last ZAMM conference. So maybe she can reprise that. So we'll be talking about brain food also for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I love just having some brain eating on camera. I think it really helps up the production value of everything we do. So.
Right. Although, I mean, the brains looked good, the ones that we had last time, but they didn't taste so good, I have to say. They, okay. My dog ended up eating most of it. And my dog's undergone some behavioral changes, I must say. That just could be typical for her, though. But yeah, that's the plan.
But also, what a nice way to sort of celebrate the people who've gone before us, right? By eating their brains.
This is the 4A people of Papua New Guinea. Yeah, it's been known to happen.
I'm worried that I'm not the only person who's like into brain eating who's in the studio right now. I am worried about the zombies. Wow.
They're about them eating your brains before you're ready to part with them?
Perhaps, yeah. Although, you know what? I'm all about sharing brains. I think, if we give them freely, then we all benefit. We all just let our brains be consumed by others.
You're like a socialist zombie.
I don't know. I'm like a need-based transfer zombie. It's a little different.
Got it. Slight distinction.
Yeah. Important there. So, should we get some more brains on?
Yeah. So now we do have somebody who makes us look like zombies, right?
Yes, we have somebody who makes us look like zombies. We have the illustrator for the entire zombified media conglomerate here with us today, Neil Smith.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Neil, it is so amazing to have you here with us.
Well, it's so amazing to be here. It's like an apocalypse holiday for me.
So you've made your way here from really quite far away.
Yeah, I managed to find an airplane that was still prepared to fly, which was pretty great. Came to an electrical storm over Phoenix. Via Vegas, so it was I've always wanted to go to Vegas, so it was amazing.
You sat on the tarmac for a few hours, huh?
Yeah, right on the tarmac there. It was special.
Did they let you guys gamble while you were sitting there at least?
Yeah, well, Not really, actually. They weren't keen on that. No facilities, but next time, something suggests the suggestion box.
I mean, talk about zombification, right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe next we'll have to go to Vegas at some point for a special show.
A big trip, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Count me in for that. Count me in.
Great. So Neil, what can we expect at ZAMM from you? What are you planning?
Well, I'm gonna take the role of a kind of I'm gonna do my best to document the conference through the medium of illustrations and cartoons, and I'm gonna post them up, do a bit of live illustration maybe. Yeah, that's the plan.
Wonderful. Now, how did you get zombified by illustration in the first place?
Oh, that's a good question. I think comics for me, right from the word go. When I was a kid, just spend all my pocket money on comics all the way.
Did you have a favorite? What was your favorite?
I had lots of favorites. I think when I was a kid, I was crazy for Spider-Man, and then just became completely obsessed with Alan Moore and the Watchmen series, and that was massive for me. That kind of really grimy, seedy kind of adult comics. I think my mum and dad would have approved of me reading that kind of stuff, but they had no idea. They just assumed it was more Spider-Man and Batman. Oh, it's so sweet. It's really not sweet.
Yeah, we really do have kind of a parents might not approve vibe to everything that we do here at Zombified Media.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm here.
Do your parents not know that you're here?
They really don't.
All right, we won't tell them. Well, thank you guys both for joining us.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have another guest. I hope. Do we have another? Was Julie able to get away from the zombies that were messing with her intranet? Julie, are you able to join us as well?
Oh, look at that,
Julie!
All right.
All right. Julie, you made it. We're so happy to have you here. So Julie Sullivan Brace is the founder of the Pickin' in the Pines Bluegrass Festival, and she's also a graphic artist, Neil. And on top of that, just does a huge amount to help support the music community in northern Arizona. So Julie, thank you so much for being here on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me. Sorry for the delay. Yes, they got into my internet. They didn't want me to share some very important, brainy information about bluegrass with you.
Oh, well, we're so glad that you made it past them and that you can share those delicious brains with us. So Julie, you're going to be here at ZAMM with us down in what we in Phoenix call the Valley, which is confusing for everybody from California. You'll be here in the Valley with us in just a few days. And what bluegrass festivities are planned for that time when you're here with us?
Well, I'm really excited to bring a young and upcoming band in called Fair Black Rose, and they're out of the Valley, and they're part of just a wonderful group called Jam Pack, and a person by the name of Annie Beach, who was Arizona Citizen of the Year, I think in 2018. She formed this just great program for kids to teach them bluegrass as a means of a way of empowering them and, giving them something else to do so that they don't become zombies and just get stuck to their screens or their phones. And, so they're actually learning to play live music and learning the form, but also learning to innovate at the same time, which I know is something we're going to be talking about today. So,
Julie, I have a question for you. So,
yes.
Is zombie bluegrass its own genre? Is that part of the innovation that we can expect?
Perhaps. I think it might happen while we're there. So I haven't witnessed it myself, but I hear it could possibly happen.
So Julie, there's this interesting sort of contrast, right? Where on one hand, bluegrass and music can be this force to help sort of de-zombify, but as I'm sure it can also be zombifying in and of itself. I mean, I know that I've become a little bit obsessed by bluegrass ever since I got exposed to it a few years ago. What are your thoughts on it? Is it more zombifying or de-zombifying, or is it really both, but in different ways?
That's a fascinating question. I think it's probably both, just like anything that you get obsessed with. Does it lift you? Does it inspire you? Does it drag you down because you can't get to that next level of playing it or understanding it, and just maybe like any kind of art, you sort of reach a plateau with it and you think, oh, I suck. I'm never going to get any better. Or you compare yourself to other people that are so much better than you and think, oh, I should just give it up, versus getting past that and saying there's a place for everyone to plug in and learn and enjoy it.
Yeah, so you've been a huge part of really making bluegrass something that's accessible to many, many people and creating educational opportunities. What motivates you to do that, to get music into the hands of anybody who wants to be a part of it?
Well, I play bluegrass myself, and I had little or no experience or background of it. I'm from a blue collar town in Western New York, and I didn't even know such a form existed. But when I started playing guitar and started meeting people that played this form, I just got so excited about it and wanted to learn to play it, wanted to learn about the music. And I think one of the most fun things that happens in the genre of bluegrass that I'm not sure happens so much really in other musical forms is that it's so much about, hearing the music at festivals, but then going off in the woods with maybe scary people hovering around the edges wanting to learn too, playing the music, playing the music in circles, sharing the music through oral tradition. It's not so much an academic type of music, although it has evolved to become so. There's a bluegrass, you can get a degree in bluegrass now at some music schools. So for me, I think I enjoyed playing the music so much. And I want to bring other people in to play the music too. So I just want to share that experience with others, because it's just, oh, good. I just see this. Don't forget the ones out to eat the people out in the woods. Yes, they're out there. We want to give them all banjos. So.
Yeah, well, and that's, I think, something that we'll be exploring throughout ZAMM is, if we do have like an issue with zombies, which I suspect that we might, are there ways that maybe we can give them some creative outlets that could, I don't know, help them maybe mitigate some of those tendencies to want to be destructive? I mean, I hope that might be an option.
Right. I mean, I think this is a big question, right? With art and music is sort of tradition versus change. And so this is a thing that I've really been thinking about lately, honestly, especially since these Just Stop Oil sort of events, where people have been like splashing the Van Goghs and things. This question of how do we find our voice and sort of deciding what is important to preserve versus what's important to change, and how do you guys think art, festivals, all of that can, music?
Well, a word that's come up over the last couple of minutes is genre, and for me, I think certainly in my little artistic world, comic book art is a genre, graphic design. There are rules that go. There are a lot of rules that come with a lot of artistic endeavor. Graphic design, for sure, completely indebted to the rules of the Bauhaus, which is like 1919. And graphic design, I'm not sure. I mean, sure, it's moved on, but we're still enthralled to the rules of the Bauhaus from 1919. So we kind of, we've taken the amazing stuff from the past, and we mash it together with, the zombie apocalypse. Take the rules of the Bauhaus about simplicity and clarity and less is more, and mash it together with the zombie apocalypse, and you get something new.
That's amazing. I've been really thinking about genre with regards to Dia de los Muertos, because as it's developed over history, it's changed what those of us in the performance studies field would call performance genres. So it began as a ritual like a ritual performance genre, and now in 2022 it exists as like a spectacle genre or a festival genre. Like part of its development is just changing genre so that it holds part of its tradition, but it continually innovates into something else.
That's really interesting also in the context of bluegrass, because bluegrass, at least my experience of it, and it would be great to have you pop in with this too, Julie, but that so much of what it is about the experience of playing music with people in small jam circles. And, you know, yes, there's a bluegrass festival, right? There's many bluegrass festivals where people will go and listen to bluegrass music. But a lot of people will come and they will camp, they'll go to the festival during the day, and then they'll hang around in the campsite and be sort of part, like on the outside of the circles, listening to people jamming. So there's an element of kind of spanning a lot of these different sort of genres within bluegrass. What's your sense of that, Julie?
It's a topic that I think people fight over a little bit. You know, when you talk about genre and tradition and the rules, there was a comment that there are a lot of rules in music. Music is tied to a lot of rules too, Matt says. And I think people kind of bristle at rules, right? After a while, you want to do something different. And if these forms don't evolve, then you can't keep bringing new people in. They won't be interested, you know. And so I think it's really interesting, you know, talking about connection to tradition and to those base rules and those things that, you know, have inspired or created a genre. But I don't think any genre really can just stay so rigid and keep bringing new listeners in. I mean, maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Maybe some people just listen to like, you know, Baroque music, and that's all they ever want to listen to. I would go out of my mind, frankly, if I had to just do that. I love that these forms evolve, and I think they need to evolve to you know, enliven us and keep us out of the woods, so to speak.
I should mention we're going to have some peer-reviewed rap also as part of this zombie apocalypse.
Is that Baba Brinkman?
That's Baba Brinkman. Yep.
I'm so excited.
He's amazing. He's contributed to all of our ZAMMs so far, and he actually penned the Ballad of the Zombie for the 2020 ZAMM meeting. So good stuff.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and he'll be doing wrap-ups as the meeting goes. He's going to be here, and you know, as Neil is going to be live illustrating, Baba's basically going to be live rapping. He's going to be coming on our Undead live show here and giving sort of summaries of what is happening during the meeting, and also what's happening sort of backstage with the the zombie issue that I think we're all going to be trying to deal with.
So I have one last question for all four of our guests. When we look at things like festivals, art, how do you guys advise people to go about finding their own voice, right? Expressing their own humanity while still maintaining the best parts.
And maybe also being a part of the tradition that's there.
Yes.
But within that, having that room to be yourself, to, you know, whether it's expressing yourself through, you know, drawing or through music, through singing, through, you know, creating, nice.
I mean, yeah, even a festival, right? You said the festival has changed over the, so deciding,
creating anything, really.
So.
I think I love this saying that your craft is what you're expected to know, and your art is an unexpected use of your craft. So you have to, but so I think you have to respect the craft that comes from tradition, and once you've got those skills down, then you can express yourself, find your own voice. But in a way, you have to respect the voices of the past in order to find your own voice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I would say I kind of feel you on that, in the sense that, like, for me, tradition is like the parameters with which you get to innovate. It sets those boundaries, and then, like with festival or performance or art making, it becomes a matter of paying homage to those traditions, those boundaries, but then working within them or outside of them in your own particular way. With something like Day of the Dead, that happens just intuitively because you're honoring your ancestors, the lineage that has come before you, and therefore you want to take that tradition, but you're going to make it new. So like when we get to the Mesa Art Center, you'll see many of the altars that are created for Day of the Dead are really innovative. They're traditional in some sense, but they're also using things from like, what did that person like? Oh, if they liked a James Bond movie, you're going to see some James Bond stuff on that particular altar, right? So it's a matter of innovating constantly innovation as a way to uphold tradition.
That's really interesting. So it's almost like by continuing to bring your creative energies to the table, you're honoring even the things that, you know, you're honoring that container that you're working within in a way. Yeah. That's beautiful. It's like a pot that you're cooking something new in.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
And I'd remind you, I would be remiss as the doctor here to not say, hey, you know, to be able to innovate and be creative requires being not sick, being not eaten by a zombie. So do what it takes to stay safe for this week, and then, you know, for the remainder of the year and forever. Get your vaccines, etc. So that's my little doctor hat.
Well, and Dr. Zed, I mean, medicine itself is a set of, you know, at least historically, a lot of it was traditional practices, and then, you know, it became more evidence-based as, you know, in recent history. But now there's also challenges with innovating in medicine still, right? It's a container that's a little bit fixed in a way. What are your thoughts on, can we innovate in medicine, or how do we do that?
I think we can innovate in medicine. I think that's the, you know, that certainly is what motivates me. But yeah, there's an art and a science to medicine. People have different needs, and besides just a scientific answer for why they might be sick, there's a long history of medicine taking, which we'll get into with Ed Hagen in a few days. That goes back well before there was anything that we could think of as a scientific enterprise of medicine. So it really predates science, and we need to keep that in mind. But yeah, the current practice of medicine has all kinds of challenges. We got burned out doctors, nurses, patients that are increasingly sick with things like long COVID, all sorts of challenges, economic and otherwise, that make the whole enterprise very difficult.
Thank you, Dr. Zed. Julie, any sort of final thoughts on finding that balance?
I do. It's just also wonderful. The thing about a festival that I've learned is it ties into what you said about a big pot stew or something. You throw all these people together. They all have very different ideas about what the thing is. And I think that actually cultivates innovation, because they're coming together, you know, en masse and having all these different ideas that propel this thing to turn into its own culture. It's very experimental, really, if you allow it to be. And I think that's what we hope to continue to do with Picken as our festival as it grows. And I think that's what other festivals probably do. People from all different walks of life and interests come together for this one sort of idea, bluegrass or Day of the Dead or reggae, whatever it is. And but they get to co-create in a festival environment. That's my thought.
That's beautiful, Julie. Thank you so much for coming on our show today. And we can't wait to have you here in person with us in just a few short days. Dr. Zed, thank you also for joining us remotely. It's been great to have you. And Mathew,
yes,
thank you again for coming on our show. Neil, it is such a pleasure to have you here as well. Yeah, and don't forget to join us live for all of ZAMM. We will be live streaming starting on Thursday at 1:30 Arizona time in the afternoon, going all the way through Sunday afternoon. And we are going to be just having an amazing time with Undead Live, with other shows, with workshops, interactive workshops here, and we'll just.
It's going to be so fun, and I'm so glad that you guys are all going to get to be here in person. It's just going to be a blast. So yeah.
And if you haven't yet, don't forget to smash that like button, because that helps stave off the zombies. So smash that like button. It's going to help us all do, because we really don't know what to expect later this week here in the studio. The zombie situation is an emerging situation for sure.
Yeah. And if you have questions for the conference, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll take a look before the conference and try to address them. So
yeah. Thank you all very much for joining us. Thank you all, our audience. Thank you for joining us for this lovely edition of Undead Live, our little preview sneak peek for ZAMM. And remember, the best way to protect your brains in the apocalypse is to share them. Join us here next time on Undead Live, where we have the apocalypse covered.
And if the whole world says that we're crazy.